Scotty. How are you?
Hi, Natalie. I am lovely. How are you?
Doing amazing. Question for you.
Yeah.
How exciting would it be to launch a new car?
How exciting would it be? Like a totally new car, first ever?
Totally new, first ever,
Never,
and
never been seen before? Oh my
never seen
gosh.
before, and you'd be in charge of that. What would you do?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I would probably like need to take a Xanax or something to get rid of the nerves. 'Cause I would be so nervous. Um,
Right.
Introducing a brand new car, that has to be so hard.
Mhm.
First of all, it must take years. I believe the average car is in development for 4 to 5 years before it hits the market. So that means it was 5 years ago that it was pen to paper. Let's build this car. Do you know what you're doing 5 years from today?
Nope.
No. And
Realistically, I'll get it.
if I looked back from 5 years ago to this day, would I know what I'm doing? Mm-mm. So I think it takes a lot of vision and a lot of planning and confidence to start planning a car and then actually bring it to market. Um, I think the nerves aside, the excitement must be incredible. It must be incredible. I mean, I kind of think about like imagine if you were pregnant for 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that would be a little impossible. But
Right.
it is I think like having a baby, and that was kind of the feeling
Mhm.
I got from my conversation with Kim Coure from Infinity as they introduced the Infinity QX65, the brand
Ooh.
new Infinity from the newest Infinity in the family. And she was just effusive with the details about this car. So proud of all the things that they did in this car and the experience that customers will get from it. And it's interestingly on the interior, it's similar to other Infinities. They're not completely reinventing the wheel, but where they did completely reinvent it is on the exterior. And for Kim, that was the thing that was so important and so transformative because that exterior and how this car, the exterior makes it feel is what is the magic. That's the real magic. When you walk up and you look at this car, when you peek out your window at your new car. I mean, you know how it is when you get a new car. You park it someplace where you can see it. You make sure it's like, not under that tree that's going to leave pollen and bird droppings all over it. You park it someplace where it's going to be protected. You study its headlights in the dark. You study the tail lights. You see it, you notice it when you see it driving around town. You're like, oh, that's that's what I look like. That's what my car looks like. So that's where the passion is in this car because the exterior design is all 100% new, and the because of the style of the car because it's a coupe instead of a square back SUV. So there's a lot new here and a lot that is just really cool. So it was a real treat and an honor to speak with her and hear all about the baby. Should we go to the conversation?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
hear about it.
Okay. Here's our conversation with Kim Coure from Infinity. Hey, Kim.
Hi, Scott. How are
Nice
you?
to see
Yeah.
you. Thank you for sharing your new baby with
Oh,
us.
yeah.
The
Did you love it?
Yes, the Infinity QX65.
Mm.
And so you've been working on this for a while. It's the first time ever we've seen a QX65
That's right.
from Infinity. Um, Tell us why it was important to you to be involved in this car.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important for women to be involved in the auto industry, right, in general. And this car specifically leans more towards a male dominated feel, but it really brings, I think, that independent woman feel to this car, right? And I felt it. I don't know if you felt it there, but I think it's just a really, sexy fastback, really brings that essence of leadership, right? A women in charge. And so I thought it was important to be a woman representing this vehicle.
And let's talk about that fastback. Was there something about the fastback that appealed to you personally?
I love that sporty design. I'm at the life stage, right, of the target customer for this vehicle, where my kids are grown and driving themselves. And so this car really gives that essence of ownership, right, of supporting me in the car. And I think it'll be the same for all of our customers who buy this car.
The place in life that we can't wait to get
That's
to,
right.
where we don't have to drive anyone else but
Yes,
ourselves.
yes, it's nice.
And we get to drive in a car that we pick,
Right.
not that fits all the other criteria.
Right.
So how long have you been working on this project?
Yeah, we've been bringing this project to life for about the last 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years. When you look down the road, when you first started working on this and you were looking down the road to, this is a 2027, so
Right.
really thinking about even further down the road than where we are today. What were the things that you were identifying back then that you believed this car needed to be?
Yeah, it really needed to represent the Infiniti brand, right? This really brings the heritage of that FX design, when Infiniti really had that strong design that people really got excited about, right? And so the fastback design of the QX65 really does that. And so I think it really digs into our heritage of the Infiniti brand and allows us to perform in a new space, right? The segment, the 2-row midsize SUV segment, is really growing and will be sustained for the next few years of what we project. And so it's important to play in that space.
And it's built on the platform of it, basically shares the underpinnings of another car that we know and love, which is
Right, the QX60.
The QX60.
It does.
And so what is it, if you really like the QX60 but feel like, I don't really need all that space, I don't really need that third row, what is it that you like or that people will appreciate about the 65, the QX65, that comes from the QX60?
Yeah, the QX60 is a great car for those families, right? It's a more family-oriented car that need the third row, need the roominess for, for the kids in the back seat and all the things that come with that. But the QX65 sharing that platform allows the 2 rows and ample cargo space. So you really have the cargo space for your active lifestyle. You can put bikes or luggage, golf clubs in the back.
Dogs.
Yeah, whatever it is that fits your lifestyle. So it still provides the roominess, but more in cargo space, less in the third row seating.
So let's talk about what you get from the driver's seat. Not necessarily the drive experience, we'll get to that, but the multimedia system and the way that the cabin is set up for the driver. Talk about what the approach was there.
Yeah, Infiniti really welcomes that Japanese welcoming is called omotenashi. And we really lean into that with all of the welcoming lighting as you step into the car, the multicolor ambient lighting, which is different than QX60, really gives that individualized cabin experience for the driver. And then all of the tech that this vehicle offers really adds to your lifestyle and allows the tech to work with you. Some of the Google built in, right? You can voice command into your car to set the temperature or the heated seats. We include massaging seats. And so it really envelops the driver of this vehicle.
So you guys did something interesting with this particular car that we don't have in the QX60, and that is a base model. This car jumps right into the trim line with the luxury trim. Why not offer a base model?
Yeah, so the Lux is the base in this segment. And what we saw is that pricing of under $55,000 for the Lux trim. We really think that that's a great entry point into the brand. And so that'll be the entry to get into Infiniti, and that's really where the volume is in the segment.
Having a pure, which is the base model on the QX60 and of some of your other vehicles, why not have that on the QX65?
Yeah, we're constantly evaluating, right, what is right for each segment. We're evaluating that on QX60 as well, and looking at the sales mix, right? It's a pretty low mix.
The faster you get me to massaging seats, the happier I am.
Right, that's right.
So let's talk about your career. Tell us what you do.
Yeah, so I'm in charge of product marketing for Infiniti. And so I am lucky enough to bring all of these amazing products to market. We work with lots of different areas of the business, from managing the production and the car flow, all the way through the marketing strategy, making sure we have the right cars in the right place.
And you have a background in economics.
In finance.
Finance. And how did a background in finance bring you to marketing cars?
Yeah, that's a long story. But what we love about Nissan is it offers lots of different types of positions to grow within the company. So yeah, I was fortunate enough to start in a finance background, and that having that foundation of understanding the business and the financial aspects really does pair well for marketing and sales as well. Understanding supply and demand, and the pricing and the incentives that we put on our vehicle. So it does lend itself very well into this position.
So you think about all the things that customers want and how the customer balances that decision, and then you do the math.
You do the math. Right?
You do the math. And how long have you been with Nissan and Infiniti?
Yeah, I've been with Nissan for 23 years.
23 years.
Yeah.
And why
Long
did you
career.
want to work for a car maker?
I kind of stumbled into it. Nissan is one of the largest companies in Middle Tennessee, where I'm from and moved back to after college. It's a great, stable company that's provided a long career for me.
Was automotive something that you were drawn to, or did you happen into it?
I happened into automotive, but I've really grown to love it. It's something that now is at the core of who I am.
And what would you say to younger women who are thinking about a career and maybe facing some of the decisions that you were facing earlier in your career and thinking, well, automotive, like I'm not a gearhead or I'm not a car person? What would you say to her?
Yeah, that's the same thing I thought, right, when starting at Nissan as well. But it's really offers so many different variety of positions that you can get, marketing experience, you can get communications experience, finance, right? There's lots of different paths into an automotive career. And, being around all of these other powerful women that are starting to really come into the automotive space really feels like it's changing. And so I would say to any young woman, please come, right? We need more women in the automotive space.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of women now shaping that.
There's so many more women than there were a decade
23
ago.
years ago
Or
when I
23
started,
years
right?
ago,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so great to see you presenting today
thank
to
you.
a room full of mostly men, I will say. We still need more women in the creator
We
space
do.
as well,
We
because
do.
there are a lot of men who are
Agreed.
drawn to this as journalists and creators, not as many women. So we need more women, but it's women like you who are eye-opening and show us that, wow, there are women behind these products, behind these cars.
There are.
And so let's talk about mentoring a little bit, because a lot of women can see a male-dominated workplace as a tough place to find a mentor. What has your journey been like?
I've had many mentors in the past, and still do carry many mentors, male and female. I think it's important to have both as a perspective. And I give back and mentor probably 20 to 30 people as well.
Wow.
That's, I think, core to what we can do to bring others up. I have a saying that sits in my office that says, we rise by lifting others. And I really believe that and try to live by that. It's very important.
I believe that too. That's very much the core of who we are, is raising all voices.
That's right. That's right.
Raising all voices. So let's go back to talk about the QX65 for a minute. What's your favorite feature?
My favorite feature is the styling.
The styling.
The styling. This car, and especially in the Sunfire Red, I know it's a little cloudy today, but seeing the gold flake in that
We're
new
going to be
paint
looking
color,
at that.
Oh,
We'll
okay,
be looking
great.
at that.
Yeah, take
yeah.
a look at the Sunfire Red color. It is amazing, and it just really sparkles, as you drive. Love
Anything that sparkles is good with me. Good with me. One last question. You mentioned that you have children.
I do.
How many children do you have?
I have two children, ages 17 and 15.
And boys, girls?
Boy, girl.
A boy and a girl. And so you've worked their whole lives,
Their whole
right?
lives.
They've always
That's right.
seen you as your working mother. What do you want your kids to learn from your career?
Yeah, you know, my daughter said to me about a year ago, is that I asked, "Am I doing a good job?" Right? I think we all, as working moms, you know, feel that pull of, you know, being a mom and having demanding careers. And I asked her, you know, "Am I doing a good job?" And she said, "Mom, what I've learned from you is you can do it all." And that to me just, yeah, that meant
That's
everything.
amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Do either of your kids have an eye on automotive?
They don't.
They don't.
My daughter
Finance,
said,
economics, finance, maybe?
no, my daughter said, "I can't imagine sitting behind a computer all day."
Yeah, just wait, my friend. Just
Right.
wait.
We'll see what the future brings for them. For sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for being here, and thank you for representing women in automotive.
Well, thank you, and can't wait to get behind the wheel of the QX65.
You're gonna
There
love
is
it.
a link below to our story on the QX65. We will be doing a first drive coming up in the next few months, and we will have a video walk around. So check out Kim's Baby, links below. So we're back. I have to say, we wrapped up our conversation when we were doing the preview of the INFINITI QX65. And as we were leaving the room, Kim told me something that just blew me away and made me a little misty-eyed. And I didn't have time to go back and have that conversation again. But here we are at the first drive of the INFINITI QX65. And so let's pick up the conversation as we were leaving before. You talked about a foundation that you started. Tell me about that.
Sure. My oldest son, Cameron, has Down syndrome. And when he was young, you know, like any new mom, he was our first child, we were looking for support and resources in the area, and there just weren't enough. And so after talking with other parents in the area, we decided to do something about it. So we started researching and found a wonderful organization called Gigi's Playhouse. It was in its infancy at the time, but we had to have this in our area. So Gigi's Playhouse supports families from pre-diagnosis all the way through adulthood, supporting them with tutoring, one-on-one tutoring sessions, speech therapy, learning how to walk and crawl for the little ones, learning sign language, all the way through job placement and college programs through adulthood.
Wow.
It's amazing. So we had to have this in Nashville, right? So I think I had a 3-year-old Cameron, right? And I had to support his future. So me and a few other mothers set out on a fundraising mission and spreading the word. And we did it. We raised enough money to open Gigi's Playhouse in Nashville, and we were the 16th location. Now there are over 60 around the U.S. and even in Mexico. And they reach other countries virtually. So the need is there, the spread is wide, and it's just so amazing now to see all of that hard work that we pulled off to open the location. Now we're in a second location in Nashville.
Wow.
And now there's 60 other locations around the country.
How much money did you have to raise to start the first one?
We raised $150,000.
And you do a fundraiser every year now?
We do. So now the Nashville location brings in well over $750,000 to $1 million every year to support its location. So it's grown to support many hundreds of families in the Middle Tennessee area. And it's 100% free for all participants, which is the biggest selling point and the biggest need, right? And volunteer run for the most part. There is a staff of about 4 people that support the Nashville location, but everything else, all of the tutors, all of the program leaders are all volunteers. And so there's thousands of volunteer hours that are spent supporting these hundreds of families in the area.
So what you just described is basically a full-time job. Where did you find it in yourself to do that?
Well, as a mother, you have to support your child, right? So I found that there was a need, and I had a skill set, and I put it to work, right? And yes, it was another full-time job. Being a mother is a full-time job. raising an organization is a full-time job. Plus, I have a full-time job
The paycheck
here
part.
with Infinity, right, to actually bring the paycheck.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
Wow.
a lot of stressful nights. My husband supported me a lot with raising 2 small children while I was out fundraising and painting
So you had a
walls.
baby at the same time? You had an infant at the same time you
did.
were starting? Wow, that's incredible.
I did.
And where did you find the other parents? Like, how did you find this network to even, there's a need. Most people just get frustrated and complain.
Right.
You didn't do that. How did you solve that problem?
Yeah, so 15 years ago, it was in Facebook's early infancy, right? So there were Facebook groups of, people, parents with children with Down syndrome. And so we would get together for play dates and things, and I was spreading the word of Gigi's Playhouse everywhere I went. And it's an easy sell, right, for the parents. It's definitely a need. And when you say 100% free to the participants, volunteer run, all we have to do is go out and spread the word. Another big part of Gigi's is spreading the word about people with Down syndrome and their capabilities, right? Which is really important to me, that the world sees this group of individuals as capable people that give to the society, right? Just as anyone else. They should, have jobs, they should extend their education, all of the rights that all the rest of us have, they should have as well. And so that's big. The advocacy part is very big for me.
Was that something that you saw lacking in the general public and even general health care? Is
Yes.
that people said, oh, well, you don't have a lot of choices. And you knew that wasn't true.
100%. Even the way that we found out our son had Down syndrome in the hospital was a terrible experience.
Oh.
The doctors talked about his limitations that he'll have, not the possibilities. Everybody who came in said they were sorry, not congratulations, right? So a lot
That's
of the
heartbreaking.
work that we've done is to educate the medical staff as well, right? Congratulations on your new child. That's what you should say, right?
Right.
Anytime
Of course.
anyone has a new baby, not I'm sorry, or this child will experience in 30 years from now in adulthood. Right? It's a
Wow.
baby.
Yeah. And so have you seen a change in how the medical profession addresses families with children with Down syndrome?
We have seen a change. It's still an uphill battle, right? There's a lot of perceptions still to change. We do every year campaigns to end the R word, right? And that's
Yeah.
still very
Yeah.
much a challenge that exists, right? Is right, just giving people the chance and understanding, capabilities. There's no limits, and that's why we have pushed our son so hard since birth. He doesn't even believe he has Down syndrome because we have made it so much that you're just like everyone else, right? You deserve everything that everyone else does.
And so he's in high school.
He is a junior in high school.
And so tell me about what his life is like right now. What does he do What does he do at school?
Yeah, so Cameron is a typical junior in typical classes. He does get pulled out for some extra help in math and reading. But everything else, he goes to all of the classes with all of his peers. He has a ton of friends. He just turned 18. And we threw a big party, had about 50 of his friends out and had a DJ. He's like the life of the party. So he, wherever he shows up, people follow him because he's just like that infectious of a personality.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but he cooks and cleans, and he's probably more
Well, if he
advanced
cooks and,
than
I was going to
other
say,
18-year-olds.
if you could get a teenager to cook and clean, that alone is an
Yes,
accomplishment.
yes.
And so, what is he looking at for? He's got a year and a half left of school, basically. What is he looking at after high school?
Yeah, that's a conversation we have often with him. His perception of what he wants to do is probably different than ours, right? So we're continuing those conversations, like probably most 18-year-olds. But there is a program at the schools that will do job placement and job readiness skill set. So he'll probably do that for 2 years or so. And then there are a lot of local colleges in the Middle Tennessee area that offer programs where the The kids live on campus just as any other college student. They go to classes and they experience that college life. And I think that will be very good for him for that further independence.
So you do expect that when he's done with his schooling, he'll be self-sufficient.
We'll see, right? And everyone's different. That's another thing that we try to stress is, everyone's at different levels, right? And so for Cameron, he is fully capable of being self-sufficient. It's, the motivation is what
Whether
we're
or
working
not
on.
he wants to. Well, there are plenty of kids who love to live at home until they're well into their 30s.
Right.
So
Yes, he's very comfortable right now.
and that's a big trend. So what's your outlook with the organization when he's a little more self-sufficient and maybe continuing his education and that kind of thing? You've needed them when he was little, but now do you need them as much?
Always.
Yeah.
I think always. This program does not age out like many of the programs do.
Okay.
A lot of the programs age out at 18 or 22. This one will support into adulthood forever. So there are other programs like cooking, and I mentioned the GGU is what it's called for the job prep and pre-university studies. I expect him to go to those programs, continue programs that promote friendship, and there's even programs that will help you go grocery shopping and determine your budget and what you can buy for the week.
So he'll always have this as a resource.
He will always have this.
That's amazing. And what about you? Will you always be a part of this program?
I think so. I don't think there's not a way that I could be a part of Gigi's. It's part of my heart at this point. I go sometimes and just sit and watch the little ones. And just at one time, I just went and sat in the corner and just cried because this is what it's for, right?
You're going to make me cry.
That's
Kim,
what
you're
it's
gonna make me
about,
cry.
right?
Well,
is giving back to those who come behind you. And I mean, think about Cameron has had this now for 15 years of his 18 years of life, and how far has he gone through that?
Yeah.
Now these babies are starting out from birth, right? So what is their potential?
And they have so much more opportunity.
They do.
Because of the gift that you gave them.
Yeah, and I will keep fighting for that as long as I have breath in my lungs.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I want to stop getting teary here. This is how I felt when we were talking after we did our podcast discussion in California, and I left thinking I need to know. I need to hear more, but you need to hear this too. Talk about how you blend your job, all the jobs that you do with Gigi's House.
Definitely the skill sets that I've learned through working at Nissan and INFINITI helps me promote Gigi's, right? And so now I spend most of my time supporting the organization through fundraising and speaking engagements, meeting new donors, right? So the networking, the speaking, all of that, right? The skill set that I've learned at work, I apply for Gigi's Playhouse. And then some of the things I've learned from Gigi's Playhouse of running an organization, right? I take back to managerial skills at work, right? So I think they both go hand in hand.
And so what are the qualities that leadership in an organization employs that make it possible for you to do something like that? What do you look to the organization for?
So building trust, right? That's a big one. You're going out and asking people to either sit on a board or trust you that you have a vision that they should follow, right? We're expanding this organization. We need capital investments, right? And so building trust and building a vision has definitely been something that I've taken from my leadership background and employed to build Gigi's.
And what about your leadership, at your company, at Nissan or INFINITI? What is it that they did that enabled you to do this?
Yeah, I think I've surprised a lot of people about my second life. I know there's definitely been a lot of my supporters along the way that have just poured a lot of faith and support personally from me. I've read some of my speeches to some of my former bosses and asked for input. I've had that motivation that you've got it, right? You can kill this. I'm proud of you, right? All of that. A lot of my mentors and advocates at work have really supported me.
That's
in this journey.
amazing. That's amazing. It's hard to do even just the basics if you don't have good support
It sure is.
in your job. And it's hard to raise a family and do your job. So to be in an organization that supports you to go above and beyond for something that is so important in your life is pretty incredible.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having that support at home. Right.
Well,
My
yeah.
husband is now a member of the board of the local Gigi's Nashville, and I'm a member of the executive advisory board. So our whole family is all in.
Yeah.
Right. My daughter has gone and volunteered at programs, and of course my son participates.
Yeah.
So our whole family is involved in Gigi's.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for telling us the story about your other life.
Yeah, well, thank you for allowing us to highlight this organization.
And what would your advice be to someone who is in a place where they know they need to find a solution for something that is so important, like something, a health issue with your child or something that impacts your life that much, and you don't know what to do? What's your advice?
Yeah, I would say research, find your support system, find others that will jump in the boat with you, and then you've got it, right? And just give it your all, and you can do it. It's for your child, right? There's nothing more important for a mother than supporting their child.
There's not.
It brings out this extra reserve in us, right? That we never knew was there.
That strength to remember the old story about the mom who could lift the car off of her child.
That's
remember
right.
that story? And
You'll
you
do
go,
anything for your
wow.
children.
I never want to know if I have that strength, but if I ever need it, I hope I do.
It'll be there.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Kim.
I appreciate this talk.
Well, I appreciate you. We all do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing opportunity. I did all the feels, she's from Tennessee. She's been with Nissan, for her career. And then to be able to launch this in her own backyard, it's just so cool.
I think that when you're growing up, you go to college, you get the degrees that people say you should get, you study the things people say you should study, and then you like where you live, and you think, well, what am I going to do now? Because the things that are interesting to me may not really be in my backyard. And what I really admire about Kim's journey is that she was willing to take a chance on automotive. There was the manufacturing plant in Smyrna. Then they eventually moved their headquarters to Nashville, so there was more opportunity for her. But that she was willing to give automotive a chance, I think was pretty amazing. I also think it's really amazing that because this was a homegrown company, and so she could create a nice balance between her life and her family, her parents, her kids, her marriage, her, extended family, and work both being right there. It gave her the opportunity to create that foundation to help her son and other children like him. And it gave her that opportunity to find that work-life balance that I feel like if you live in a place like New York or LA, finding work-life balance can be really hard, especially if you don't have family nearby. It's really hard to raise kids and put them in, find that preschool or find that daycare and balance that school schedule when you don't have like in-laws or parents or siblings nearby to help with all of that. But to be able to do that in your backyard where your home is pretty amazing. And what she's done with this foundation to help children with Down syndrome is amazing. When she talked about that, I felt, like misty-eyed, so stunned, and it's incredible. I feel very inadequate, I would say. I feel like, wow, I should be doing more too. But pretty amazing.
I know it's very sweet and like amazing that she's able to give back to the community at large, but then also for her son, like, and to honor him in that way. It's just it's really cool. And with the career ladder, like, I commend her because I know what that's like. I've had no support, so it's like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it really is. Well, thank you, Natalie, for joining me. Everyone, thank you for being here with us for What Drives Her from A Girl's Guide to Cars. Natalie Marola, my co-host. I'm Scotty Reese. Our editor is Steph Howard. Our music is by Envato Elements. Please subscribe to our podcast here as well as our newsletter and get our news every day, every week in your inbox. And we'll see you next time on What Drives Her. Bye, everyone.